What is going down, Sourdough Squad? Oh boy, welcome to the offseason officially. But before we get into all that, we have a game to talk about. So let's do it, shall we? Let's get into the fun stuff that happened earlier today. But you know the vibes. Smash that like button, and we're still the SDS, and we still vibe. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. The San Francisco 49ers lose in a bunch of different ways to the Philadelphia Eagles. Still a little bit shell-shocked, but the final score 31-7. As you guys know, I'm in Philly right now. They're having their whole celebration literally right outside my window over here. You still got people out in the streets. There's full riot gear. They are out and about. But let's talk about this loss because it was a pretty difficult loss. I feel like a little cheated. I feel a little cheated from this game. I don't feel like we got a game. I really don't. And there's multiple reasons why I feel that way. And it's not all, it is kind of one thing in particular. But because the San Francisco 49ers, Brock Purdy got hurt, pretty significant elbow injury. They're going to get MRIs tomorrow. The hope is that Brock Purdy will not require Tommy John surgery. And if you guys know, Tommy John surgery is pretty significant surgery on the elbow. And this stage in the game, that would be in the year, I should say, would be pretty devastating for the upcoming season. So we're hopeful that the San Francisco 49ers dodge a bullet here with Brock Purdy not requiring surgery. That would be the best case scenario. Best case scenario is about a 6-week injury with no surgery. So that's all we can hope for right now, and that Brock will be good and ready to go for OTAs. But as we know, Brock wasn't good to go in this game. And he got injured on the first I think it was the first offensive series. Don't quote me. Everything's kind of jumbled together at this current stage. But the game felt like it was defined in the Eagles' first drive. You know what I mean? Mumbo says, can we blame Jimmy? Need someone to blame. I'll give you someone to blame. We can blame the refs because on the very first drive, the 49ers, the entire game swung in a huge fashion on the very first drive. The 4th and 3, Jalen Hurts to Devonta Smith, one-handed no catch. I'm in the stands, so I can speak to what Kyle saw. I was on the 49ers sideline of the stadium. I'm in the lower bowl. I wasn't right behind Kyle Shanahan, but I had a pretty good look at the Devonta Smith one-handed catch. And from my vantage point, I got it on film. I recorded it. Again, I'm far away. And when I looked back at it, it looked like a catch. What they showed in the stadium looked like a catch. They ruled it a catch. So in my mind, it was a catch. It was just a really good individual effort by Jalen Hurts to get to scramble out of the pocket on a 4th and 3 and throw up a prayer to Devontae Smith for just a phenomenal one-handed catch. That's what I thought it was. I even posted on Twitter. I was like, because everyone kept saying not a catch, not a catch, not a catch. And why would the stadium show Devon not catching the ball? So whoever the video operator is for the stadium, they deserve a raise because they played a huge part in the competitive advantage by not showing the replay. And because they didn't show the replay, Kyle Shanahan didn't get a good look at it. I think if you were in that stadium, you didn't get a good look at if that was a dropped catch. It looked like a catch. Like being there, being in that moment, it looked like a catch. They didn't show it on the big screen. I don't know if anyone up in the booth for the 49ers would have access to a different view or different replays. So that's part of it. It's like everyone clearly on the broadcast saw that was not even close to being a catch. Like it hit the ground, it bobbled, like it was the biggest no catch, like literally ever. But that's the thing. It's like if you were in that stadium, you had no clue unless you saw those broadcast replays. And I don't know if the 49ers have access to broadcast replays in game. I really don't. I don't know, like, if the coaches up in the booth, if they're cooking off of, all 22 angles. Like, I really don't know what they're working off of. So all things considered, like based on being in the stadium, it just feels like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like we didn't get a good look, but clearly everyone on the broadcast saw that it wasn't a catch. So that play directly completely changed the outcome of the game, because that went from that would have been an early turnover, effectively early turnover. It would have quieted that stadium on the first drive. Then it would have gave the San Francisco 49ers offense the ball with some momentum. So that was absolutely a huge play. I don't think it was a deciding factor play. The deciding factor play was Brock Purdy getting hurt. Like, that's, for me, when Brock Purdy hurt his elbow, and you see Josh Johnson coming in, it felt gross. And I like Josh Johnson, but I don't like Josh Johnson enough to come into the NFC Championship game on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles to win that game. Brock Purdy was going to have a hard enough time getting that win on the road, let alone Josh Johnson. So that, to me, is the biggest deciding factor in this game. It was Brock Purdy going down. Brock Purdy going down. The 49ers, up until that point, they were in it. They were able to get the score. Christian McCaffrey had that phenomenal run, and you're like, okay, they cut it to one score. You're like, all right, we got a shot at this. We have a shot at this. But at that point, when Christian McCaffrey scores, the complexion of the game is completely different, because it goes from, okay, we have a shot, but to have a shot, we have to play perfectly to even be competitive in this game. And that's where it was sketch. Like, that was where it was really sketch, because you have to give a lot of credit to the Eagles defense. The Eagles defense was consistently in the backfield. They were consistently pressuring the San Francisco 49ers, whether, it was mostly Josh Johnson in the game at quarterback, but they were on him. They were on his neck, and there was just no time for anything to develop. Josh Johnson had to get the ball out early as fast as he could, and even if he was getting hit. Like, I mean, it's not all just one thing, but and you also have to give credit to the Eagles. Their defense was playing lights out, but so was our defense at a certain point. I think the 49ers defense was holding the 49ers in that game. And then that drive where it was penalty after penalty, and I think it was right after the Christian McCaffrey score. And then you're like, that's where I think, I had some hope. I felt like the Eagles fans were a little cautious. I feel like you could sense that nervous energy from Eagles fans. Like, oh crap, like they just scored with the backup quarterback, and our offense isn't really moving the ball all that well. And then that drive occurred where it was like penalty after penalty after penalty, whether it was ticky tack, whether it was self-inflicted, it didn't matter. That drive, I think, killed the 49ers momentum, or any momentum that they had. It was bad. GL says that loss hurt so bad. Yeah, that was a difficult one, man. Because we didn't even get to give the Eagles our best shot. And I think that's the toughest thing about this loss is we knew we were going to lose the second Brock Purdy left. And it was like just watching something that you love just so close to you, and it's like it's not going to end well, and you're just hoping, you're just praying that some miracle happens. But the miracle that we're talking about is a massive miracle, and unfortunately that miracle never came. And so it was rough. It was the whole time it was rough. There wasn't a lot of optimism in that game after that point. And from that point, it was just downhill. There's really even nothing to analyze from that game. People want to come after Kyle Shanahan for this game. Why? For what reason? And if any of you in this chat, I will give you the floor to give me reasons why Kyle Shanahan deserves some kind of critique, deserves some kind of response. Like, what is your issue with Kyle Shanahan? Kyle Shanahan is on his third string quarterback. His third string quarterback gets hurt. Listen, Kyle Shanahan is not out on the field. So we got our first one. Chico says he didn't protect the quarterback. How did he not protect the quarterback? Kyle Shanahan has been running naked boots all year with Brock Purdy. One of the things that Brock Purdy has been successful at is being able to run play action and be able to get loose and to make decisions on play action and on boots. From my understanding, again, I'm in the stadium, so I gotta re-watch it. I still have to go back, and I don't have I have a different perspective from being in the stadium. I don't get a ton of replays and all that type of stuff, so I can't speak to a ton of specifics. But I don't know. Croft, the third string tight end on Reddick, is terrible. Croft is a great blocker. I know right now it feels really easy to say that, but if you go back to, let's say, the Raiders game, and Tyler Croft had a huge block that sprung Christian McCaffrey for a touchdown. Tyler Croft has been a blocker in this scheme. It's what happens. You're going to get that matchup sometimes. We see tight ends blocking Nick Bosa. That's the function of certain schemes. If you want to blame Kyle for that, fine, go for it. Because Tyler Croft had to block a defensive end, which is what he does play in and play out for the San Francisco 49ers. That's fine. That's fine. I don't see a big issue in that. And we'll definitely – Raiders don't have Reddick. No, they have Max Crosby. But clearly you guys are feeling a certain way about that particular play. To me, that's standard operating procedure. So I don't see how that is a function of Kyle. I look at that as a bang play, a freak injury on a good play by Hassan Reddick. San Francisco 49ers have played Hassan Reddick for probably his whole career. I mean, Kyle has a ton of experience scheming against Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick used to play in division with the Arizona Cardinals. Now, in that moment, in that time, could you maybe call a different play or try to do something else? Of course, you can always do that. But the fact that everyone is up in arms about a singular play where tight ends block defensive ends all day, every day in this scheme. I don't know if you guys are new here, but you can join our Tuesday film sessions. And if you watch our Tuesday film sessions, guess what our tight ends do? Our tight ends block defensive ends all day, every day. It is a function of the scheme. It's what we do week in, week out, and this time it didn't work out. I'm not talking like he's just a regular D end. I'm talking like we did this with Parsons. We did this with Crosby. We've done this with every single defensive end. That's the point. Everyone's up in arms because of the outcome, but no one's been up in arms about, like, this is the NFC Championship game. And that's the tipping point play, because it just so happened that particular play didn't produce the outcome that we wanted. So because of that one singular play in the NFC Championship game, after 17 weeks of regular season football, a wild card round, a divisional round of doing this same thing, all of a sudden, that was a fireable offense. That's just, I get it. We're upset. We're angry. It resulted in a horrible outcome of Brock Purdy getting hurt. But come on, guys. Try to use a little bit of sense here. We've been running none of this stuff is brand new. It's just an unfavorable outcome at a very, very poor time. So I get it. You want to be upset. You don't like that play. You don't want Croft blocking a defensive end. That's fine. It's fine. That you aren't wrong. You know, it's not the best matchup, but unfortunately or fortunately, that's what the San Francisco 49ers have run all year. No one's complained about it until now. So again, put it into perspective. Y'all want to be mad at someone? I get it. People are angry. They're upset. And we know what it is. After losses, fans want someone to blame. So people are going to blame the head coach, the play caller. I get it. But if that's the you can critique that, sure, but if we're going to stake our entire livelihood of our time to find a new coach because of that, that's just wild to me. But anyways, we don't have to spend any more time on that. I think this game was defined more so by not playing disciplined football in certain instances, um, and getting hurt. So that's the unfortunate nature of it. So that's where we're at. Not the outcome we wanted, not what we would have preferred. And I think the biggest thing is that we just didn't get that shot. We didn't get to see. We didn't get to see what this game could have looked like. Rome says, was not the narrative all week Philly had 70 sacks? We call long developing plays so early against a team's strength. I mean, I talked about it earlier in the week. I really thought that one of the things that the 49ers were going to try to do was run the football, play action boot. Play action boot. I believe that is the play where he got hurt. In fact, you guys are talking about it so much. I want to rewatch it. Because again, I was in the stands. I try to see, did anyone post that play? Oh, wait. I recorded it. So maybe we could all watch it and we could all decide together how egregious that play call really, really was. Hold on one second. Let me see here. All right, I got it. We can watch it together. Let's do it. Since we're talking so much about this play, let's watch it. Okay, I'm going to pull it up. We'll do a little film breakdown in real time. Again, what we're going to be watching here, this is the play that we have, you know, uh, we're looking at Kyle, I guess, is what the critique is here, right? We're looking at the critique of is this Kyle's fault effectively for this particular play? Oh, it's doing this stupid thing. Oh, right on time. We've got the bots. All right. So I want to pull this up. I want to talk about it because I want to make sure we're all seeing the same thing. But I have to do that thing where I got to reset really quickly. So talk amongst yourself for 15 seconds and I'll be right back. All right. Now I should be able to pull it up. Sorry about that. I don't know why StreamYard does that to me. Okay, so we can all see, right? So this was the play that I got. This was my view of this particular play. Uh, let's see, anything out of the ordinary. Croft got cooked. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you're going to get a standard play action. It wasn't a boot, so it wasn't a boot game. So you're also going to have Debo Samuel pull across. Typically, Debo pulling would cause those backside defenders to pause a little bit, but Croft does get cooked by Hassan. And then, oof, ouch. Again, I really don't have a huge issue with the play. The 49ers run stuff like this all day within their scheme. This isn't anything out of the ordinary. Like, this isn't something that I am looking at Kyle just like cooked up in the lab and like went off script. Like, the 49ers have run this play with relative consistency. So it wasn't a great outcome. Croft didn't do his job. And again, granted, Hassan Reddick is a great defensive end, gets around the corner, and got to Purdy. And the outcome that we didn't want. But I'm still, again, I don't. It's a standard play, in our scheme. We run stuff like that all the time. So, but that's just me, apparently. Tom Brady, I'm coming home to tell the world. Oh, you're quoting some lyrics. And we're on to the quarterback talk because it is the off season. Good stuff. So, yeah, that wasn't a good effort by Croft. Not at all. But we haven't played a team with this kind of rush. Again, the thought process on that particular play, it's play action, and also you have Debo on the kind of end around. Typically, Debo in that motion around Brock would kind of hold those defensive ends or cause them to second guess. And listen, we don't have to like go into some like crazy argument about it. I don't think it's worth that much of our energy to debate. 49ers Eagles dominated on both sides up front. Yeah, the Eagles did a great job. Their defensive line was for real and everything as advertised. But again, like I'll give you my final take on the play. I'll give you my final take on the play and we can move on. That play, from what I saw where Brock Purdy got hurt, wasn't a new play. That's something that we run all the time. Doesn't matter what the defensive end is or the tight end that's blocking him. We've run that multiple times a game all season. So I have a harder time. I understand the logic. I'll say this. I understand the logic of being upset that the tight end was on a defensive end and gave up a block, and you don't want to see that outcome, and that is unfavorable. I can understand that logic. However, it's also something we do all the time. So, but clearly everyone is feeling a certain type of way about that. So what else do you guys want to talk about? What other moments in the game stood out to you? What other not challenging the catch? Yeah, we talked about that a little bit. Can we talk about the future? We absolutely have, because that's all we have now is the future. The past is another scar added to the memories of being a 49er fan. I'd say since 1994. If you started being a fan of the San Francisco 49ers in 95, you really only know heartache. So, welcome. Lisa said, Giants talking trash, want some of the 49ers smoke. 100%. 100%. Kayvon Thibodeau getting into it with a bunch of Niners. We need to sign another DN. It can't be just Bosa. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the 49ers do moving forward. I would love, again, you guys know me. I'll talk about Brian Burns, the duo of Brian Burns and Nick Bosa. I've talked about that. They need to find something as close to D Ford as possible. They really do. I really do like Samson Ebukam, but Samson Ebukam's a free agent. It's going to be very interesting to see if the 49ers bring him back. I don't know if they do. I think Samson Ebukam has been a very good player for the 49ers. He's been a very consistent role player. But I think it would be ideal to get someone, and that could be Drake. I see people talking about Drake. Drake could absolutely. I think Drake. I've said this multiple times this year. I think Drake Jackson will have probably the biggest second round jump or second year jump from any player that we've seen from the 49ers in a while. Drake Jackson was like 21. I think Drake Jackson has an opportunity to come back next year like a different player. I think, when we saw the flashes of Drake Jackson this year, I think Drake is still developing from a body standpoint. So I think he can get bigger. I think he can get faster and stronger. And I also think he can develop his technique better as well. But I also think you can add on top of Drake Jackson. I think if you could get someone of that type of, like, dare I say, Hassan Reddick type caliber, could be dangerous. Chase McLaughlin says, I feel the fan base would be happier with the outcome if it didn't change. Purdy didn't get injured. It feels like a illegitimate loss. I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's been my hardest part with this whole thing, is that because Brock Purdy got hurt, it feels like we got robbed. It feels like we got robbed of like a legitimate opportunity to see what could have been, and how that all works out. So, yeah, that was tough. That was definitely the tough part of it. And it's what we're unfortunately going to have to be talking about now for the rest of the year, because it was such a good season. Like, it sucks that we have to talk about this loss, and like clearly we're feeling a certain type of way. I mean, I get it. I can see it in the chat. Like we're feisty today. And we haven't lost one in a while. You know what? We had 12 wins in a row. So we haven't lost in a long time. And I think on top of that, to go 12 in a row and then lose that way, I think that makes it even more difficult because we feel robbed. We feel like the San Francisco 49ers still could have won that game. Like, I think with the way the game started out, even with that bad call or the no challenge and them scoring, I still feel like the defense was playing at a good level and we still could have clawed our way back into that. But once Purdy went down, it was over. We were toast. So that's the hardest part. That really is the hardest part. Because at the end of the day, like I think maybe why me in the chat might be uh kind of going at it is because I don't like to assign blame. I don't think blame is cut and dry. I think there's so much that goes into football, and unless like the blame is blatant, you know what I mean. There are instances of that. Ask Kyle Williams of that. So there are definitely instances of that. I just feel like there's some nuance here, so I don't feel convicted in playing, the blame game. But I get it. People are upset. People are angry, and I understand. And I'm not going to get in between you and your emotions. So, that's not what I try to typically, go about my coverage or recaps of games that way. So, I mean, there isn't a whole lot to talk about from an analysis standpoint. There was because it wasn't a complete game. It wasn't a true game. So we just have to chalk it up to feeling like we got it stolen from us. Whether it doesn't matter. It just feels like we got that bad taste in my mouth. Right? It feels gross. That game feels not fun. They just didn't drink their pickle juice. Yeah, whatever it is. And this unfortunately bad taste is going to linger in our mouth for a long time. And we really got to see what this offseason is going to look like. Again, got to pray that Brock Purdy isn't going to have Tommy John surgery. We have to make sure that Trey Lance is healing properly. I saw Trey Lance today. Trey Lance was in the boot. So, I mean, Trey Lance broke his ankle week 2, and he's still in a boot. So we have to hope that injury is progressing well. And, there's some retooling to do. We're going to have free agents. McGlinchey's a free agent. Brunskill's a free agent. Brendel's a free agent. I think who else? I got to pull up a free agent list to get everything, but there's going to be a lot of moving parts. Lisa said, we're undefeated in the NFC West. We beat the Cowgirls in the playoffs twice. Ain't nothing better than 49ers faithful. We were scary with our third string quarterback. Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing here is that Aziz is I would have if I was a betting man, I think Aziz is going to go wherever D'Amico goes. Jimmy Ward knows he's out of here. Jimmy Ward basically saying his goodbyes in the locker room. Because I think Jimmy Ward knows that the 49ers aren't going to re-sign him. And Jimmy Ward's known that since before the year. He made that clear that the two sides weren't getting close. So Jimmy Ward's it's going to be different without Jimmy Ward. Tashawn Gibson, it'd be interesting to see if the 49ers bring him back. Emmanuel Mosley's a free agent. But, the 49ers still have a good core. Nick Bosa is going to get paid. Nick Bosa is going to get a big payday. Did I read this one? The loss hurts worse because of the injury to Purdy. This now opens up the quarterback competition next year, especially if Purdy needs surgery. Niner gang for life. Yeah, just when it felt like we were starting to get more kind of clear answers of the quarterback situation, it takes another turn. So, yeah. If Brock has to get surgery, holy hell, man. See, this is the thing. Like, I'm all for 49ers going into next year OTAs with Brock and Trey, and that being the quarterback room. But if Brock has surgery, I think that is what opens up the door for a veteran quarterback. That's the thing, is I think if Brock was able to play a good game just like he's played, and let's say the 49ers lost, right? Let's say the 49ers lost this game, but Brock stayed healthy, and it just was a loss, but Brock played good enough. I would say QB1 going into OTAs would be Brock. Trey would be 2. It would be an open competition, and they would be good to go with letting those two battle it out, Brock getting the first shot. If Brock has surgery, I think that's what opens up the door for a veteran quarterback. So that's wow. I'm not going to lie. I'm working this all out in my head. I haven't really had that much time to think about it. So I'm just thinking about it. I'm basically thinking out loud. That, man, if he has surgery, it almost feels like Tom Brady's coming on. I got the sense like Tom Brady hanging around with the 49ers in that Bucs game. Like, he was hanging around because he's hanging around with potentially maybe some future teammates. Like, that's what I kind of got the sense. What? What happened? Did I say something? Oh, I'm not saying he's coming. I'm just guys, if we don't know, by now, it's hypothetical season. So let me get this out here on the table. Because it's hypothetical season, it's the off season. Every stone will be unturned. Everything is fair game to discuss. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we're going to talk about it. So everyone needs to chill. Man, I forgot what lives were like after a loss. We've been cooking on dubs for so long. I forgot. I forgot the vibes. Why are people talking about Zach Wilson? Oh, yeah, it's tinfoil hat season, man. It's smoke season. It's tinfoil hat season. It's all that. I can't believe we're here. Can't believe we're here. I thought we were going to be talking about Super Bowl. This hurts. So much pain. So much pain today. Oh, God. All right. 49ers George says, I would have been happier with more run calls for Seahawks and Cowboys. And in this game, the play action that Brock got hurt on could have been called after the run was better established. Thanks, Brad. Yeah, I mean, I hear you 100%. They didn't, the play action, that didn't do anything. Typically, you run play action, it's to get the defenses to bait and get them to get a little hesitant. They didn't. They didn't bite on it at all. So whether that's film study or whatever, they didn't bite. They didn't bite on Debo. They didn't bite on anything. They knew it was going to be pass, and they at least they attacked it like it was pass all the way. So, yeah, that was tough. All right, what else do we want to talk about? What else is on your guys' minds? So off-season topics, get ready for it. Quarterback. And again, the reason why I was talking about Tom Brady was less about Tom Brady and more so about the fact that Brock Purdy potentially having surgery is a catalyst for I've seen people talking about it earlier in the chat, like a butterfly effect. It's a butterfly effect. If Brock Purdy has surgery, I think it opens up a couple other doors for potential outcomes. If Brock Purdy doesn't have surgery, I think it shuts a couple doors. So that's the part of the offseason that we're at. We're now in this guessing mode, and that's the next chip to fall is what's happening with Brock Purdy. Is Brock Purdy going to have surgery? And if Brock Purdy is going to have surgery, get ready. Get ready. I thought I really thought we were going to go have a I thought we were going to get through this, man. I thought Brock was going to play good enough that we were going to be going into this year with Brock and Trey, and that was going to be the quarterback room, and we would be able to slide past all this other talk. But if he has surgery, because let's do the math here. What is Tommy John recovery? Tommy John, because Tommy John too is an extremely serious surgery. All right. So if Brock Purdy were to get Tommy John 9 months to a year, that means Brock Purdy ain't playing next year. So that means the San Francisco 49ers will be knocking down any door of any available quarterback to come play. And that includes Tom Brady, and that includes Aaron Rodgers. And I hate to say it because I cannot believe we are here. So I pray to the heavens that this does not require Tommy John surgery, because if it does, holy hell. everything that we thought we had is going to change. So that's why I'm talking about Tom Brady. That's why we're going to be talking about potentially, like, that means maybe Aaron Rodgers does become a freaking option. Like, this sucks. This freaking sucks. Like, when you talk about insult to injury, I would pay. I would pay for the San Francisco 49ers just to have lost. Just to get outplayed. Like, when we get into next year, we are going to have to quantify this loss and remember that not all losses are created equal. And this loss could effectively be a devastating one, because not only did they lose an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, but if Brock is severely hurt, then now any quarterback in this league is up for grabs. We need to solidify the O-line a bit more. You know what? I'm down. I agree 100%. Like, again, I just say this because it's the only way that I can build a team. I love Madden franchise mode. I'm a big Madden franchise guy. Like, I love playing GM and I love building my teams. I will always start a team building process from the offensive line out. That is my philosophy. And I do believe if I was a general manager in this league and someone gave me the power to build a team, it would be my number one goal to have the best offensive line imaginable. Like, that's why I envy the Eagles a little bit with their offensive line. Their offensive line is sick. They have a really good offensive line. All this weak link talk about the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line was ridiculous. And you saw today why it was ridiculous. To go out and believe that the best NFL offensive line has some kind of weak link and you think you can take advantage of it. And like, that's why I don't get upset that much about anything. But to try to identify one of these Eagles offensive linemen and call them a weak link as if that was going to somehow be taken advantage of was a gross miscalculation. But the point being, yeah, do whatever you can to make the offensive line as good as it can be. Trent Williams doesn't have that many years left. You know, he's getting up there. I think he's 33, 34. He can only play at this level for so long. So the 49ers got some work to do. And I would love to have the best offensive line in football. I'd love to be able to say that we have that. Brad, is availability at quarterback or Achilles heel? 100%. The quarterback position has been just somehow, some way becomes a problem for the 49ers. It just, it's a problem. Whether, but even when it feels like we're finding a solution, it somehow still finds a way to become a problem. It's just, it's tough. It's tough right now because again, we're in hypothetical season now. It is officially throw spaghetti against the wall and see if it sticks. That's the unfortunate part of the offseason that we are in now. if the San Francisco 49ers have drafted, if they drafted Patrick Mahomes, if they drafted Deshaun Watson in 2017, and pre Deshaun weirdo situation, the 49ers have won multiple Super Bowls, I would imagine. But of course that hasn't happened. And again, we're hypothetically, this is pure hypothetical. We've seen kind of the wake of what happened without that. So if they drafted Justin Fields, I don't want to talk about that right now. I don't want to talk about that right now. We'll maybe have that conversation another day. Do you think Trent will come back? Trent is under contract, so yes, he will come back. So Trent's under contract. He will come back. Bummer about Purdy. Shouldn't happen like that. But sometimes I feel like the only one left who has mad faith in Trey. I mean, I'd at least like to see, after giving all that capital, real talk. You know what, Corey? I'm right there with you. Like I would love for Trey to be the answer, but I don't know if the franchise believes he's. I don't know. I don't know what they believe, and I'm not going to speak for them at this point. It felt like them bringing back Jimmy Garoppolo was pretty interesting. So I don't know. I want Trey to be good. I feel like it would be, if you're a fan of the 49ers, like it doesn't do you a service for you to want Trey to not be good. I mean, considering everything that the 49ers gave up to get him, you want him to be successful. You want him to be good. You don't want him to fail. But I just don't know. I don't know what the belief is inside that building with Trey. I don't know if they believe yet. And unfortunately, Trey going down, like we needed to see Trey, man. We needed to see Trey this year. And now he hasn't taken really meaningful snaps in a full. He's played 4 games since 2021, 2022, 1 game in 2019, or no, 1 game in 2020. So it's just tough break, man. Just a tough break for the 49ers quarterback situation. We lost without a quarterback. Is this really a loss? Yeah, it's a loss. It's a loss. Oh, it's the worst loss, I think, that we didn't have a quarterback. I think, like I said, I wish that we had the quarterback and we lost. I think that would have made it easier to rationalize. But because we lost Brock so early, it was just a slow, painful death. That's all it was. That's all today was just. It was like death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's what today was. I'd much rather at least have a fighting chance, and come up short, or I don't know, man. Again, all things considered, if you had to think about some of the ways the 49ers have lost, at least last year hurt, right? The NFC Championship game against the Rams hurt because it was there to be won. The 49ers should have won that game, and that one hurt because of that. But this one hurts because when we saw Brock go down, it was like, oh, like we knew in the first quarter that this was going to be brutal. So it's definitely a loss. There's no other way to look at it. Why are fans so polarized over Trey Lance? I really think the polarization comes from the Jimmy Garoppolo polarization because it's interesting because the people who are anti Jimmy and pro Trey, like it's crazy. Like you we had Jimmy stands, right? That term came to relevancy in the 49ers community. And you had people who loved Jimmy. They wanted Jimmy to be successful. Anytime, Jimmy would be criticized, they'd say this, they'd say that, right? So that developed like this, I think, kind of polarization around Jimmy. And then when Trey came, everyone was so happy to have a quarterback that wasn't Jimmy. And then again, we remember the attacks that Trey was getting from national media and things like that. So that made the Trey fans who were already against Jimmy like fight for Trey even more. And then we saw Jimmy come back to relevance this year. And then it's just like this power dynamic shift of Trey fans and Jimmy fans. And unfortunately, I can't call myself either because I want whoever's in that quarterback to be successful. And I'm not going to openly root against one of my own quarterbacks on the team. That's why I feel like it's easy for me to go from Jimmy to Trey to Jimmy to Brock, like, because all I care about is the 49ers winning football games. And you could be a potato wearing a jersey. And if you were a potato wearing a jersey and you were winning me football games, I would be rooting for you. And that's why I don't, it's just such a polarizing, it's just this constant polarization around the quarterback position. And it's going to be like that until someone wins it. Until someone wins the Super Bowl, it feels like that conversation is going to happen for a long time. And that's why, like, we were excited about Brock because there could have been an opportunity for us to kind of get some finality with just what we are moving forward. And again, right now, as we stand after this game, we are the furthest thing away from finality with the quarterback position. Like we don't know. We don't know. We don't know if we don't know what the status of Brock is going to be. We don't know what the status of Trey is going to be. We don't know what that situation triggers internally. Jimmy likely signs elsewhere, I would assume. I'm not even going to assume. Who knows? Does Jimmy come back? I don't know. Don't know. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the quarterback thing because we have months to talk about it. But just kind of getting back to this game, and again, there's really not a bunch to talk about because it fell over pretty early. And just brutal, man. We're back. We're back here, man. Who would have thought? It's giving me a head. Like I haven't thought about it really in months. So I've been living very well, not thinking about it all that much. And just this episode is just reminding me what is ahead of us this offseason about the freaking quarterback conversation. Like, oh my gosh. So the next step is hopefully Brock is going to be okay. Did you see the video on Twitter of Eagles fans talking trash to Joey Bosa for supporting Nick before the game, asking him when the Chargers play this week and telling him he's not playing this week? Yeah, I was right there. The fan was right behind me. So the fan was yelling through my ears to Joey. I was right there. So I heard there was Eagles fans talking trash to Joey Bosa the entire time. I was right there. I heard the whole thing. Yeah, I was right there. So it's tough, man. It's just a really, really tough way to go out. And it's just a freaking another reminder that our season is over. Do you think we make a run next year? My heart's broken. I've got faith, but we got to wait to see what this team looks like. There's a lot of question marks right now. A lot of question marks, and we have a lot of months. VZ says, so what do we do from here on out, Brad? I'm lost without 49ers content. Well, luckily for you, VZ, I'm not going anywhere, and I will continue to post daily content on all my platforms. We will obviously, I would imagine if I had to just think in my head, the next 2 weeks until the Super Bowl is going to be a lot of processing the end of the year, recapping 2022. D'Amico's going to get hired somewhere. The 49ers are going to have to hire another DC. We're going to see if any other coaches get poached. So we're kind of going to be working through those nuances of the season. And then we got Pro Bowl. Senior Bowl's next week. I'm credentialed to go to the Senior Bowl, but I am just not going to go. I just don't feel like it. But pretty soon we're going to start looking towards the draft. We're going to have free agency to talk about, draft. And again, we got to figure out what's going on with Brock. But I'll be here every day to talk about it. But I see someone said I'm done with football for now. That's fine. But we will be here to talk about it. I wish we could have ended in a better way. I know none of us wish this. Heisman said, I was crying when Brock went down. I knew I'd have the SDS. The SDS ain't going nowhere, man. I think, we're upset now, so we're kind of working through our emotions. We'll definitely have an opportunity to reflect this year. We'll have an opportunity to kind of look back and do all that type of stuff. But yeah, it is tough, man. It is a tough way to go out. But you guys already know. If you've rocked with me before, you know that we keep this thing rolling all year long. So we will be working through all the off-season content. The news won't stop, the updates won't stop, the content won't stop. If anything, this off-season will give me some time to regroup, since I have been sprinting for what feels like an entire calendar year. And then we will continue to look and see how we can build out the channel, the content, and get things even better in a better spot and provide better quality content and continue to take what we do to the next level, and all this stuff. Heisman says, "How do you handle this so well? I'm a mess." To be honest, Heisman, nothing nothing will ever be as painful as the 2012 Super Bowl loss. So I think the 2012 Super Bowl loss, the 2014 season, the 2015 season, the 2016 season, uh, those years really hardened me to being able to like understand like what pain is when it comes to being a fan of a team. And then you have the Super Bowl loss in 2019 and 2020. Then you have the NFC Championship loss in 2021. Like, I'm just more upset that this game wasn't, there was no shot. That's what I'm upset about. A loss is a loss. I can deal with it. I can, I've had enough heartbreak as a 49er fan in my life that it isn't going to break me, unfortunately, to say that out loud. But why this loss to me is so painful, or just doesn't, it just doesn't sit right, because it wasn't a true opportunity. We were robbed of a true opportunity to see what this team could do. And I think that is what is the painful part of this game, is that's it. It's really what it comes down to. It's really what it comes down to. The positive being the San Francisco 49ers went undefeated with the last pick in the NFL draft, after the starting two quarterbacks went down with injury. There is a world that exists that if Brock Purdy isn't here, the 49ers aren't in the NFC Championship game. Hell, are they even in the playoffs? Like, are they a first round exit? So that's part of the context. Is yes, this loss sucks, but in the grand scheme of things, the San Francisco 49ers were able to go so far when they shouldn't have. When, logic would tell you that Mr. Irrelevant isn't going to go undefeated and have his first loss be the NFC Championship game. Like, that's wild. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fact that Brock Purdy's first loss in his career is going to be this game that he couldn't even complete. He couldn't even finish. He couldn't even give a shot to finish the game. Like, he was in the game, but he could literally only hand off the ball, and that's not a way to play. So all things considered, it was you could still say, depending on what type of movie you want to watch, still kind of was a movie. The whole script leading up to it, him getting hurt, like it just wasn't a happy ending. Was still a movie though. So still a movie, just wasn't the storybook ending that we were hoping for. So all things considered, man, it was still a phenomenal year. It was still a really good season. Um, it was a magical season, and I think that's just why this loss is painful. Is because we didn't we didn't get the fair shot that we thought we were deserving of. So that's why I think it hurts a lot. Um, so let's see. Tomorrow's technically it's Monday for me. It's 1 o'clock in the morning here, which is crazy. Uh, and I'm traveling tomorrow. Um, so I don't know if I'm gonna be going live tomorrow. Maybe we'll take the day off tomorrow on the account of travel. So I'll be going back to California. Uh, yeah, and we're gonna be doing content. I'm gonna be posting and all that stuff. So I don't know if I'm gonna be going live tomorrow, but I will be posting, and we'll get our mentals back sooner or later. But it's definitely been a tough one. But until then, of course, want to shout out all you guys. I know this is tough, but this year has been fantastic for me personally. Um, you know, being able to come out to these games, being able to talk to you guys every day, and do all this content. Um, I've had a blast. I know it's not the outcome that we wanted, but I just wanted to thank all you guys for a really fun season. You guys have made uh, my job a blast. I enjoy talking with you guys every day. I enjoy all my regular SDS. I enjoy all our new people that have showed up and the new SDS that we have built along the way. Um, and this community that started off really small and we're continuing to grow. And I'm really excited to see how we grow next year, man. Um, uh, I'm thankful to the SDS that I've met in person. Um, and I'm just really thankful for you guys, thankful for this opportunity, and thankful for the way you guys show love. It really does mean a lot. Uh, and I'm sad to see it end this way, but again, it's not the end. It's the end of the 2022 season, but it's actually the beginning of the 2023 season. So, although that season is over, we turn the page. We're on a new chapter now. And of course, we're going to work our way through this game and all that stuff. Uh, but it's officially, we are on to 2023. We are starting a new chapter today. And we're starting a new book, I should say. And we're going to be interesting to see what the outcome is next season. But it is officially 2023, and 2022 was a magical, magical ride. It's tough to see it end. I think we all believed we were going to be in Arizona. But again, shout out to SDS, man. Appreciate you guys. Heisman says 2012 hurt. So did 2019. Last year hurt more. Honestly, I just hope we are competing next year. I'm not ready for a rebuild. Much love to all. Yeah, we are definitely going to. I think it's just another retool. We're not rebuilding, we're retooling. So that means we're going to have a lot of talk about this offseason. I know you guys are hurting. I'm hurting too. It was a tough one, man. But nonetheless, love you guys. Shout out to SDS. Appreciate all that you do, all the support that you provide, and looking forward to see what we build this year. I'm out for now. I appreciate y'all. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to